All right, welcome to another gear review. This is what I'm doing right here. This is the Daiwa Catalina TW. I didn't really ever hear about this reel until I was poking around the Tackle Tour forums, and I saw that people are talking about it. I'm like, what's this all about? So I look into it, look into some Japanese sites. That's where this reel's from, is from the Japanese market. And I see a lot of information. I'm like, hey, this looks like it'd be a pretty good deep crank reel. But also, I saw some information as well. It's like it seems like it fits the 1516 zillion, that's the first zillion TW that came out. But also it says something about a Tatula as well. So I'm like, those two spools don't match up. So what kind of spool does it have? It says it has a free floating spool. That's what the zillion does, but it's also Tatula size. So I was kind of confused. So anyway, so looking around more, I see that the Tackle Trap, it's a U.S. based company. They purchased a whole bunch of these from the Japanese market, and they're selling them for way under the Japanese price right now. I don't know how they did it. Not really too concerning to me, but like right now these are listed for $210, and with the if you're a Tackle Tour member, which it's really easy to sign up. I got a link down below. Um, you put the code TT10 and you get 10% off your entire order. So like this reel comes to $189 shipped, and it shipped really fast. It's like a couple days. So I'm pretty impressed with it so far. But I'll get into the actual why as to why I got it here pretty soon. But if you like these gear reviews that I do, also I do bait finesse fishing. I do, if you don't know what that is, look at my other videos. Bluegill fishing, trout stream fishing, basically all over the place. So subscribe and also follow me on Instagram as well. Link that will be down below for that. So on to why I got this reel. That 4.9 gear ratio, I'm like, that would be crazy to deep crank with, because I crank with some really deep crankbaits like 10XDs and crankbaits that go 20 to 30 feet deep. That's why I got it. But kind of a trend of what I've been doing is I've been downgrading some of my equipment. So like my Shimano Bantam, for example. I really like the reel, but I was like, you know what? I don't really use it that much. I don't use it to its capability, so I'm just gonna sell it and get something that's more of a workhorse reel. That's what I did. Gander Outdoors, they were going out of business, so I ended up picking up a Daiwa CT for dirt cheap. It wouldn't have been my first reel for it, but I was like, for that price, I can't pass it up. Then I got rid of my Bantam, and it just helps put a little bit of money in my pocket that I was kind of just wasting on a reel just sitting there. That's kind of the same thing I'm doing here. Although I do use my Antares a lot, I think this is going to be just as capable for less money. So, and I want to try something new out. So that's what I'm going to do. So like I said, this is a 4.9 to 1 gear ratio. That's my main reason to getting it. Uh, Also, 100 millimeter handle. Look at that thing. That's, you're not gonna find really many Daiwa bass size reels that's gonna come with 100 millimeter. Like this is an 85 millimeter handle just to size that up for you. And now it seems like a lot of Daiwa reels are coming with an 80 millimeter handle. So that's one thing you're not gonna have to buy is a new handle for this thing. Comes with these power grips. They're a hard EVA foam. They're still comfortable, but when you reel it, it actually feels. It doesn't feel much different than a bass knob, which is nice. As I cannot stand big nasty knobs. I just don't like it. The reel also has brass gears in it too, which that's going to help with your durability and also your smoothness a little bit. Um, what else is? Oh, it has the 36 millimeter spool right here. So what that does is basically the wider your spool is, the better long distance, heavy weight casting that potential. There's a lot of other factors that go into it, but potential it has. Just because you're not digging into the diameter of the spool as much per rotation. I'm not going to get into all that nerdy stuff quite yet in this video, but the whole science of the reel is going to be long casting. It also has a T-wing system on there as well, so that's going to, like I said before, that's going to decrease that line angle and that drag that happens, so that's going to help with longer casts. And the spool is a Daiwa Mag Force Z, so that's the main braking system that Daiwa was using before the SV reels came out. And kind of the biggest difference between those two, which I'll actually show you right here. But I'm going to see if that Daiwa 1516 spool actually fits in here. That's what I'm going to do. But so this is a spool from my Daiwa 1516. This is the Ray Studio the BFS spools that they come out with. You see a lot of people talking about the AliExpress spools. That's what this is. So SV reels, like, I'm not gonna go over too much, but the inductor it comes straight out, but also it twists out, so that it's more control. It's a really light spring in there too, so the brakes are gonna kick on real quick, like, which is good for light lures and also for controlling the wind and stuff. However, you jump over to the Catalina here. The inductor's recessed in a little bit right there, and also it has a stiffer spring, and it only comes straight out. It doesn't twist. So what that's gonna do for me, like, I'm only throwing baits at like a half ounce, only like a half ounce or more. So I'm not worried about that little finesse control, because those crankbaits are going to soar through the air. So I just need a very small amount of braking, which that's what this is going to provide. So I'm expecting this reel just to launch out crankbaits. So onto the fitting of the spool. This is going to test if the Daiwa 1516, the first generation Zillion TWS spools fit in here. Because if it does, it's going to be great for me, because I have a left-handed Daiwa Zillion that I've been flipping with. So I have the stock spool for that. I can load that up with like 16-pound fluorocarbon with my flipping reel, like the 9.1 Zillion I have. I could put that spool in there if I'm flipping wood or anything else that I want to use fluorocarbon with. And then also, if I want to throw swim baits with this 4.9 gear ratio reel, I can do that. I could just throw that 16-pound fluorocarbon spool in here, be good to go. So let me, okay, it fit in there. Looks like it fits. There's a normal amount of space in there. That is so much better too, having that feature right there, the little switch, instead of having to use your nail or a nickel to undo it by the brake dial. That sound right there is just the line and the I still have the bobber stop on here. That's what that sound is. It's not a sound of like grinding or not fitting. Yeah, it still responds well to the brake dial as well. Clicking brake dial, I don't know if that matters to you, but it's clicking. Clicking drag too. Yeah, it works. Yeah, it's just like it fits, that's nice, because actually, let me turn the brakes up, because sometimes you can get problems with that. No, it works. It pretty much stops it when the brakes are at max. Let me click the brakes all the way down. So yeah, that's good news. So that way I can pull double duty with the same spools, which saves you money, and also it gives you a little bit more versatility on the water. That's what I kind of regret not having a bunch of 10/16 size reels, because I used to have a lot of them, and it was nice. I could just swap spools around and be like, hey, I want this shallow spool over here. I want a deeper spool in here. It was nice. I can't get over. That's such a nice feature. I always really disliked having to screw and unscrew it. That's so much better. But real super smooth too. Like even without line on here, and the spool tension isn't all the way tight. So once you have some resistance on there, you can usually feel it's a little bit smoother. But I don't think this reel is gonna be as smooth as an Antares. I'll just say that right now. But for the cost difference, for $189 to get a deep cranking reel like that, or even a swim bait reel, I think it's going to be a steal. But I don't really know until I get out on the water. This review is going to be kind of the same setup as I do with the other ones. I kind of talk about my initial impressions, why I got it, blah blah blah, and then I move into casting lures with it on the water. So I find out it's low range, it's high range, kind of if it's squirrely, if it's really controlled, blah blah blah. Go over that stuff, and then I break it open. With generally the last part of the video, I'll show you guys the internals, if it came kind of dry. It seems like this came lubed properly. A lot of times if you get reels from Japan, they can be kind of dry. I've had a Thsi's SVTW once. It casted like absolute crap. I'm like, what is wrong with this reel? So then I just put a drop of oil in the bearings, and then it just launched lure. So I will be going over that. But I do like to fish reels stock first to see how it is. And then what I'll do is I'll flush the bearings out, put different grease in it, and stuff like that. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for those other videos. I'll be posting those out not too much longer.